The year is 1945. The once invincible Third Reich crumbles under the combined might of the Allied forces. Adolf Hitler's dreams of a 1,000-year Reich lay shattered, consumed by the flames of a devastating war. Amidst the ruins, a different kind of battle is taking shape, a desperate scramble for survival by those who had orchestrated the Nazi regime's horrors. High-ranking officials, SS officers, and even concentration camp guards disappear into the shadows, seeking refuge from the impending justice of the Nuremberg trials. Their destination, a surprisingly welcoming haven thousands of miles away, Latin America. This mass exodus of Nazis, facilitated by clandestine networks and sympathetic governments, marked a dark chapter in post-war history. It was a period when accountability was elusive and perpetrators of genocide found safe harbor far from the scenes of their crimes. The story of how Latin America became a sanctuary for these fugitives is a complex web of political expediency, shared ideologies, and a lingering undercurrent of anti-Semitism. Among the Latin American nations, Argentina, under the rule of Juan Perón, emerged as a particularly welcoming destination for fleeing Nazis. Perón, a military officer with a penchant for authoritarianism, saw in these European arrivals an opportunity to bolster his own power and prestige. He believed that their technical expertise and military knowledge could be harnessed to advance Argentina's ambitions on the world stage. Furthermore, Perón's government, steeped in a culture of machismo and nationalism, found common ground with the Nazi ideology. Both shared a disdain for communism and a belief in a hierarchical social order. This ideological kinship, coupled with Perón's own political ambitions, created a climate of acceptance, even admiration for the architects of the Third Reich. The political landscape of the post-war era played a crucial role in shaping Latin America's response to the influx of Nazis. The specter of communism loomed large, and many Latin American governments, including Argentina, saw the United States as a vital ally in this ideological struggle. The Nazis, with their virulent anti-communist credentials, were viewed as potential assets in this emerging Cold War dynamic. This pragmatic alliance, however, often overshadowed the moral implications of harboring war criminals. The pursuit of national security and economic advancement took precedence over the demands of justice for the victims of Nazi atrocities. The result was a climate of impunity, where former SS officers and Gestapo agents could live openly, their past sins largely ignored. Beyond political considerations, economic factors also played a significant role in Latin America's willingness to embrace fleeing Nazis. Many of these individuals arrived with considerable wealth, often looted from their victims in Europe. These ill-gotten gains were invested in various sectors of the Latin American economies, from real estate and industry to banking and finance. Moreover, many Nazis possessed valuable skills and expertise. Engineers, scientists, doctors, and technicians were welcomed with open arms, their knowledge and experience seen as crucial to developing the region's infrastructure and industries. This influx of skilled labor, while morally questionable, undoubtedly contributed to the economic growth and modernization of several Latin American nations. The influx of Nazis into Latin America was facilitated by the region's long history of European immigration. Argentina, in particular, had a sizable German immigrant community, many of whom harbored sympathies for the Nazi cause. These pre-existing networks provided a support system for the newcomers, helping them to integrate into society and evade detection. Further compounding the issue was the prevalence of anti-Semitism in certain segments of Latin American society. While not as deeply ingrained as in Europe, anti-Jewish sentiment was present, particularly among the elite and within certain intellectual circles. This prejudice created an environment where the persecution of Jews was tacitly accepted, if not openly condoned, making it easier for Nazis to blend in and escape scrutiny. Infamous Nazis in the southern cone, Mengele, Eichmann, and others. The list of notorious Nazis who found refuge in Latin America reads like a roll call of the most wanted war criminals. Perhaps the most infamous was Josef Mengele, the angel of death of Auschwitz, known for his cruel medical experiments on prisoners. Mengele lived openly in Argentina for a time, even socializing with other ex-Nazis, before eventually fleeing to Paraguay and then Brazil, where he died in 1979. Another high-profile case was that of Adolf Eichmann, the logistical mastermind behind the Holocaust. Eichmann was captured in Argentina in 1960 by Israeli agents and brought to Israel, where he was tried and executed in 1962. His capture sent shockwaves through the world, exposing the extent to which Latin America had become a haven for Nazi fugitives. The mechanics of evasion, ratlines, false identities, and government complicity. The escape of thousands of Nazis to Latin America was a well-coordinated operation aided by a network of sympathizers, corrupt officials, and clandestine organizations. One of the most infamous escape routes was the ratline, a system established by former Nazi intelligence officers and facilitated by the Catholic Church. These ratlines provided fleeing Nazis with false passports, visas, and travel documents, allowing them to slip past Allied checkpoints and board ships bound for South America. Upon arrival, they were often greeted by government officials who turned a blind eye to their pasts, providing them with new identities and even citizenship. The numbers game identified versus unidentified Nazis in Latin America. The exact number of Nazis who sought refuge in Latin America after World War II remains a subject of debate among historians. Some estimates suggest that as many as 9,000 individuals with Nazi ties may have found safe haven in the region, with Argentina, Brazil, and Chile being the most common destinations. However, the clandestine nature of their arrival and the complicity of certain governments make it difficult to ascertain a precise figure. While some high-profile Nazis were eventually apprehended and brought to justice, many more lived out their days in anonymity, their true identities concealed by new names and fabricated pasts. The passage of time, coupled with a lack of political will in some quarters, has made it increasingly difficult to track down these aging fugitives and bring closure to the victims of their crimes. A legacy of impunity, the long-term impact of Nazi refuge in Latin America. The decision by several Latin American nations to harbor Nazi fugitives after World War II had far-reaching consequences. It not only provided a safe haven for those responsible for unspeakable atrocities, but also sent a chilling message about the selective nature of justice in the post-war world. The presence of these unrepentant Nazis also had a corrosive effect on the political and social fabric of their adopted countries. Their ideologies, often rooted in racism and anti-Semitism, found fertile ground in societies grappling with their own legacies of inequality and discrimination. The long shadow of this dark chapter continues to haunt Latin America, serving as a stark reminder of the dangers of impunity and the enduring struggle for justice and accountability.